First of all, welcome you all. And to the I think there's a seventh Sparks of Light webinar, which we're going to speak about science and Kabbalah, right? Very exciting. So a lot of people seem to think that there is a contradiction between Kabbalah and science because, right, one speaks about the natural world, the one speaks about the spiritual stuff, but that is, of course, false. So essentially, science is a tool to explore the external aspects of the world, while Kabbalah explores the internal aspect of the world. So first things first, I think it's important that we define what science is. And we have, of course, here a quote from Wikipedia, which is, of course, the best source in the world. Everybody loves it. And according to Wikipedia, science is a rigorous, systematic endeavor that builds and organizes knowledge in the form of testable explanations and predictions about the world. Modern science is typically divided into three major branches: the natural science, physics, chemistry, and biology, which study the physical world; the social sciences, economics, psychology, and sociology, which study individuals and societies; and the formal science; and the formal sciences, which are logic, mathematics, and theoretical computer science, which study formal systems governed by axioms and rules. And so many people nowadays, if you see online, they are proud to say that they follow the science or they believe in the science. Well, if people actually understand what science is, then there's nothing to believe. It's a tool that humans use to understand the world. There are certain principles and laws which aim at minimizing the level of error that we encounter, but at the end of the day, it's made out by humans. And of course, humans, as we all know, can be incredibly flawed. So it's a very well-known thing that many scientific studies are rigged, corrupt, or have some sort of conflict of interest, where the company which is sponsoring it is paying the scientists to reach a certain result. That has happened a lot of times, and sometimes even scientists may have the best of intentions but simply make mistakes. There is for example, up until some time ago, it was common to use asbestos, right, to cover the roofs. And there is a case when I was studying statistics in college that we studied just to see how sometimes we have to control variables, and it was about the effects of smoking on the kidneys, right? So they took a lot of smokers, and they found out there is a correlation between smoking and kidney problems, right? Amazing. So, except that, of course, they did not consider that many smokers are what? Heavy drinkers, right? So that's one of the cases in which you can have the best of intentions, but sometimes things can be flawed. And I'm not here to bash science. I'm just here to merely point out some of its limitations, because while science has brought many gifts to humanity, we know we see a lot of important medical advances that help people live better, help them see, help them hear, help them walk. All these kind of things are wonderful. I like to say, if somebody has his arm torn off by a bear, he shouldn't go to the Reiki master. He should go to the hospital, ideally, right? But of course, a person can go on thinking that science has all the answers, and that whatever it doesn't acknowledge is untrue, because Hashem, God, right, is in which most of humanity believes in, is above science, is above all the calculations. But there are still some principles which are studied by Kabbalah and laws that we're going to learn soon. So, for example, there is a principle in science that up until recently it has been an accepted idea that we are all made of matter, right? We're all solid. But nowadays, we know that at the subatomic level, we are nothing, and we have a very tiny bit of matter and a lot of energy. So this should change our perception of the world entirely. I'm going to see soon a very important case, a very fascinating experiment. So the reason why we don't move through doors is not because the doors are solid and we are solid, but because of the electromagnetic repulsion that have between two solids. According to the Torah, God created the world of speech. So everything is in a sense energy, which in the biblical language is light. Light is energy, is a form of energy. And so we humans, since we are designed in the divine image, we retain a measure of this power. Rabbi Nachman of Breslov teaches that we can literally change things, change nature with prayer. Prayer is incredibly, incredibly powerful. And to prove this idea, there is a fascinating experiment which is made by a Japanese scientist called Masaru Emoto. And he proved that human consciousness can actually affect the molecules of water. So in his experiment, he took, so I think many of you know about it. In his experiment, he took some water in a cup and started shouting and cursing at it, saying that the water is horrible, that it's better if it had not been created, that, should be ashamed of itself. And then he saw, that the molecules were distorted and unpleasant, a very ugly shape. When he took another cup and started praising the water and talking to it in a compassionate way, he saw that it resulted in an aesthetically pleasing physical molecular formation in the water. So this shows a little bit about how the power of speech, is so great, and we just don't see. Now, there's a lot of things to talk about Masaru Emoto's experiment. You can find online a lot of articles about it, but it brings to mind, it corroborates to the Kabbalistic idea that we are all energy and we are all constantly interacting with the universe. Our consciousness is not just limited to our physical body. In fact, up until again some time ago, science considered that your consciousness is inside your body. Nowadays, it's more accepted that the soul, a part of it actually, vests itself in the brain, but only the lowest part. And if we do meditation and we do energy exercises, we take care of blockages, we can actually experience these higher levels of consciousness and the higher levels of the soul. So energy can also be manipulated either for good or for bad, and this is why we have the laws against lashon hara, which is evil speech, which is gossip, and why a tzaddik, a spiritual master, even if he is not Jewish, is the power. His speech is so powerful. He can literally change reality. We don't people think that it's a woo thing that to say affirmations and manifestation, but this is all things that even science is slowly starting to accept. Now we have a principle that everything is contained in the Torah, as I think many of you saw some of my articles. The Torah is the code behind all of the creation. We found actually many in the Torah code. We found many historic events that even after way after the Torah was given, like the French Revolution, the Holocaust, they have been found in specific verses in the Torah. And there is a science behind it. There's that studies these these expositions on the Torah. It's very well documented and very systematic as well, kind of like science, However, not everything is said explicitly in the Torah. We have somebody in the group that was asking about the viruses and everything, but we unfortunately don't have everything explained explicitly in the Torah. It's alluded to. Either in the Tanakh, which is the Torah, the scriptures and the prophets, or the Talmud and the Zohar. Now, if anyone here saw the Matrix, you can understand a metaphor that we can actually see. We can actually sometimes see that events are codified there. So, as mentioned in the beginning, science concerns itself with the study of what we perceive as collective, as we call collective consciousness, what we all can collectively perceive. Kabbalah, however, is a study on what we can individually perceive, the realm of subjective experience. So, for example, if somebody has a vision, a dream, that something is false, or if somebody experiences, love, which, so if you think about it, it's a bunch of chemicals inside the human body that gives a certain sensation. But of course, we can all agree that love is much more than you can just define what it is. You can't describe. So in a way, if we are going to classify science and Kabbalah into two different sfirot, as you saw in the previous webinars, then science would be the sphere of Bina, which is where the rational thought is, because that is, it's in a way only that which can be proven is considered valid by science. If a few exceptions, of course, there are a few exceptions to that, but in a way we don't generally science doesn't not accept that which we cannot have factual proof, that we can't explain, put on paper. However, human experience and the expanding states of consciousness, which is the wisdom of Kabbalah, comes from the sphere of Chokhmah, which is non-verbal wisdom. It is what we can love, all the pleasures that the human body can have, all the interaction that we experience in our world. Everything is in a sense Chokhmah, and of course this can be enhanced through meditation. It's interesting also that a lot of things, for example, that for example, psychosis that many people are diagnosed with is essentially the entry into the spiritual realms. People feel confounded and they don't know what is real, what is not real. But it's not that they are just inside their heads. They are going outside and going to the spiritual world, and they're seeing stuff that it seems completely crazy, but in a way it is real. And many people could have, Jews and non-Jews could have these sorts of visions throughout the ages. Now we see that, interestingly enough, Kabbalah and science are walking towards a unified path. They haven't gotten there yet. There is there's still a lot of contention. Many rabbis actually also reject science, real science, by the way, not But also scientists sometimes they reject the idea of the spiritual realms behind all reality. This is the spiritual motor that guides everything that we see. Even Einstein was quoted saying that his discoveries can't be completely understood without considering the ether, which is the spiritual component of the world. It's like you can't have the full picture without the spiritual side. So ultimately, we are here in this journey to get to know Hashem, the creator of the world, that put us here to learn about creation, about His ways, and we all can have a wonderful relationship with Him. This, can be in a way helped by science. Of course, it's important to learn how the world works. But so we need to establish a unified and holistic attitude towards the world, because ultimately this is for our own benefit. If we dismiss science altogether, we are completely lacking into understanding why we are here. And that is, in a way, concludes our webinar for now. I guess I've been speaking about too much, but if you have any questions, you are welcome to. Yes, Vittorio, please.
Yes, let's remember that science is a process in continuous development,
right.
Which means that what was considered science 2 centuries ago, now is no more science. And what is science now, it will change, while Torah is always eternal.
Right, science is always evolving as well, yes. Yeah.
So, I mean, the Torah is eternal for all the centuries, forever.
Right. There is actually, people are prone, it's true, yes, but there is actually a principle that also the Torah is being more and more revealed now. The higher levels are being revealed with the passage of time. There were some levels that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was not permitted to reveal. But many centuries later on, by the time of the Arizal, it was revealed, even though Rabbi Shimon said it was forbidden. And nowadays, there's still a lot of things being revealed that we didn't know before, and it is also, we're living very, very interesting times, to say the least, where we are blessed to have access to everything, and that is amazing. Yeah. So anyone has any questions or comments, I'm happy to answer. If I can, of course, I'll try my best. Well, thank you all for coming, Elodie, Vittorio, and Elisheva. Hopefully, I didn't have much time here to to prepare for this, but I try my best. I hope you guys enjoyed, and Bezat Hashem, we should keep in touch and see each other soon.
So every Sunday this time, or it can
I
change?
hope to have next time. I need to come up with a subject. I didn't. Somebody suggested science and Kabbalah, but if you want to suggest, you're welcome to suggest. Yeah, something.
No, for me it's okay, but if you could confirm at least a couple of hours before, or
Right.
3 hours before, it would be better for me.
For sure. I unfortunately not have. I actually sent the email too close to the date, and I apologize for that.
Okay, no problem.
But I will keep in touch. I have a lot of things now I'm working on, but it's gonna. I'll work on it. Don't worry. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all. All the best. Take
Bye,
care.
Elodie.
Bye. Have a good day.